there everyone, thanks again for tuning in to Sin's Workshop. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. Today we're going to be talking about The Silence That Binds Us by Joanna Ho. It follows Maybelline Chen after her brother commits suicide. Now, the book does deal a lot with talking about the suicide, but it also deals a lot with racism as well. Because, in this school, and we do see this in society, suicide among teenagers, for a while, are on the rise. Academics, school is stressful. So, May, she struggles a lot with dealing with her brother's suicide. And I do like the beginning of the story because you're seeing her relationship with her brother. You're seeing how much she loves him and how much he loves her and how they just care so deeply for one another. So when the police come the next day to tell her and her family what happened, it's just earth-shattering. You were so invested in this relationship. You know it's coming because it's in the synopsis of the book. You know he's going to die. And to see that relationship just shattered and to see May just kind of fall into herself in the family fracture, it's just devastating and it's emotional. But then when she goes back to school, almost a year later, and she, starts the school year with everyone else, she is just like, it's whiplash for her. They're talking about, the school is talking about, we have people for you guys to talk with. And of course, Mr. McIntyre has to get up on his frickin' high horse and say, the only thing stressful for our kids is the competition they have with Asian kids. Why should my kid have to suffer because that boy decided to kill himself? And he's like reaching and digging into that Asian stereotype, right? Acting as if his grades and his acceptance to Princeton wasn't good enough for the family. And it's just like, excuse you, sir. Why are you taking their family's trauma and flipping it because your son doesn't want to work as hard as everyone else? Like, no one's pressuring your son but you. You're the one who is pressuring him to push himself to unbelievable lengths, not the competition, quote unquote. This book made me angry, and I like that. I like a book that makes me feel things because it's not outlandish. We see it every day. As a Latina woman, I have very light skin, so I am not unaware of my light skin privilege. And it makes me angry that people will take someone else's trauma and warp it to fit their own narrative. Like, don't flip something to fit your narrative. Ever. Do not take someone else's trauma to flip your narrative. But I do like that Joanna is really touching on these subjects because it's kind of waking May up as well. Her best friend is Haitian. And when they're talking about a little boy getting shot in a grocery store, the first words out of her mouth are, well, what did he do? Like, no, he was a 10-year-old boy accused of shoplifting when he wasn't, and he was shot. Like, we see these things in the media all the time. Hispanics, African Americans shot because they are minorities, and it's like, oh, they think they're doing something fishy. But you're seeing May's light skin privilege here. She's like so unaware of what's really going on, and her best friend, never felt comfortable talking to her about these real world issues because it's like, well, it didn't seem like you cared enough to want to learn. And May is just like, of course I want to know, of course I want to learn. Like, you're my best friend. This whole situation has been an eye-opener for her, about people taking the narrative and flipping it for their own devices instead of just acknowledging the narrative. You see it nowadays with the whole term woke. I hate that term, by the way. I really do hate the term woke. There's nothing woke about treating people like equals and recognizing the trauma of their history and their skin color. I mean, there's nothing woke about it. It's just common human decency. You know, I think it's marginalizing the problem. that word, you know, to be woke. I hate that word. I really do. And that's another example of, you know, the whole narrative being flipped. You know, this book, it deals a lot with social commentary. You know, it is emotional. It is thoughtful and provoking, and I could go on rant after rant, tangent after tangent, and I'm trying not to do that. I'm trying to rein myself in. I don't know if you guys can tell. I'm really trying to rein myself in because this book has it's relatable and it's realistic, and you can connect it to things that are happening right now in the real world. You know, it's dealing with mental illness. It's dealing with people just saying, oh, the pressures of school is what makes them depressed. Like, no. When I was in school, I was just depressed, and it didn't have anything to do with school. You know, it was just me. I was depressed with myself. You know, that's the best way I can it had nothing to do with school because school was easy for me. It was just like this inescapable cloud of loneliness that enveloped me and my anxiety to the point where everything about me some days would hurt. Like even just touching my hair or like just touching my nails against something, like it would just shoot pain through me. Like my anxiety would get really bad. You know, depression is different for everyone. So to just minimalize it and say, oh, they're depressed because of competition in school, you're not addressing the issue. You're trying to warp it for your narrative. See, you know, I love this book. This book gets 5 out of 5 stars. I have to stop talking now. I really do, because there's instances of, there's poetry in the book that May writes, and it's impactful and powerful, and there's no short way to just describe how amazing this book was. You know, it really was just a powerful, impactful story that I think everyone should read. It made me angry. It made me sad. It made me hopeful by the end. But I can only be hopeful if people want to address issues rather than just minimalizing them, you know? So, yeah, I'm just going to stop there. I tried so hard not to go off on tangents for you guys, but this book made me feel things. So it gets 5 out of 5 stars. If you want to go ahead and purchase the book, I will include links in the description on where to purchase it. And on that note, I hope you all will continue to support me here by liking this podcast, sharing it with all your book-loving friends, and subscribing to me on Spotify. You can also become a supporter on Buy Me a Coffee, Ko-fi, Patreon, or by making a donation to my PayPal. And on that note, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and as always, happy reading.